I'm not focused on the amount of yards, touches, or touchdowns. If I can do the most minimum to get a national championship with this team, I will do that. That was Jermaine Burton, former Georgia wide receiver who won a national championship with the Dogs in 2021, transferred to Alabama for the 22 season. I did want to point out a couple of things about Jermaine. Number one, he went from 26 receptions to 40 at Alabama. He had about 107, about 180 more yards at Alabama than he did. So 14 catches, 180 more yards, and 2 more touchdowns when he went to Alabama. He did not go pro, obviously, if I'm talking about him after his junior season, which was at Alabama. I thought he might leave and go straight to the NFL. That sort of, I thought, was the plan, was to go to Bama, really go where you got to go with Bryce Young, the number one overall draft pick, and make a name for yourself and go on to the draft. That did not happen, and now I actually do not know who will be the quarterback at Alabama this fall. Someone covering the team over there would know better than I would. But if you're Jermaine and it was about winning national championships, I think the simple statement would be, well, why didn't you just stay at Georgia, right? So we're going to talk about that just for a little bit. I think a lot of times for players, particularly as good as Jermaine Burton, guys who are going to be NFL players, they're looking for these are always, often described as business decisions, but they really are business decisions. And I will say, after being in business for nearly a quarter century, different types of businesses, you don't always make every business decision is not the right business decision, and it remains to be seen if Jermaine made the right business decision going to Alabama. I don't know, but if it was about winning national championships, he didn't do that, at least not yet. Make sure you're picking up our 2023 preview guide for free. How do you do that? You sign up for dog post down below for a month, and we'll give it to you for free. You're also going to get a free t-shirt from our friends at Red Zone. You're going to get 20% off any item at Red Zone's online store. That's UJ Red Zone on Clayton Street. It was very crowded this weekend when I was in Red Zone. You can go to the other stores. There's nothing wrong with that. There are other really good stores, but Red Zone's the best store, and I'm not just saying that. I know that from experience. Our friends at Double Dog, our friends. If you are a friend of mine and bought Double Dogs, I will give you something else for free. A month of dog posts. Sign up down below. Make sure you're getting all of what we're hearing, insider practice reports. We don't pull punches. We don't have anything to hide as far as all these things are concerned. So make sure you're signing up for that today. With Jermaine, I think it was just a little bit miscalculated, and that can happen. I mean, you can think a particular thing is going to happen and then it doesn't, and that becomes challenging at that point. What do you do next? I think the solution for Jermaine was to come back to Alabama, finish up there. Hopefully for him, he'll be a little bit more productive than he was a season ago. I mean, 40 catches, that is not unhealthy. That's a lot of catches, don't get me wrong. Again, as I say, that was more than he caught at Georgia by 14. I mean, he didn't double his production, but he got closer to that in terms of receptions. He was not as big a play receiver. His receptions at Georgia were almost 20 per. I'm watching a highlight of him right now in the Orange Bowl against Michigan, where he caught that long. I think it was a 73-yarder to get Georgia up 23-7. No, it was a 57-yarder. God, so he had a 57-yarder and a 73-yarder in 2021. That was a big season for Georgia. Obviously, winning the national championship, but there's no doubt, looking back on it, that coming into 22, what people thought would happen at Georgia, which is, Stetson not being an explosive quarterback, that turned out not to be true. I mean, he was a Heisman Trophy finalist. Bryce Young was not. Was he? I can't remember. It was Caleb Williams, Stetson, Max Duggan, the TCU quarterback. Was Bryce Young a Heisman guy? I was literally in the room, but I cannot remember. Is that bad? because I think we all knew. Yeah, I think he was a Heisman candidate. But what's amazing is that I thought it would go better for Jermaine um, at Alabama, but it didn't, which is a little bit surprising. No, it was not. I didn't think it was him, man. I'm going crazy over here, y'all. It was C.J. Stroud, who was a very good quarterback. I mean, I don't know that any of these guys were better professional prospects than Bryce Young. Well, Caleb Williams might be, but of the older guys who were there as seniors. But so I thought it would go pretty well for him, but it didn't. And if it's about winning national championships, he's played for the two programs lately who have won national championships. He just left one of them and went to one that hasn't won it since, and he wants to get a national championship with this team. The betting odds are that that won't happen at Alabama. And then we're going to hear about, whenever you say that, you say, well, Nick's teams do the best when they're doubted the most. They have in the past. There's a new power. And they're really not that new. But there's a power now in college football that didn't exist when Nick's teams were doubted and did their best. It's Georgia. I mean, they're a real problem right now for everybody else in college football. It's not, hey, you're a Georgia homer. No, I can see what's going on. I mean, it's pretty evident that Georgia is really a problem for everybody in a way that Alabama once was, in a way that SC once was, the way the Gators were, Nebraska. These teams who have built up real momentum, won multiple national championships, who are the people I just named, in a given amount of time, they are a real challenge for teams to deal with. Georgia is built in a way that whoever the other team has at quarterback had better be sensational. We're talking C.J. Stroud. These are the people that almost beat Georgia or did in recently. Kyle Trask, Mac Jones, Bryce Young, and C.J. Stroud. That's really it. I mean, DJ Uiagalelei, no. They didn't even score a touchdown. The guy at Missouri, no. That's not what this was. Don't confuse it. Don't confuse a tight game with the quarterback played well. That's not what it was. So right now, Georgia's a real problem. Does Alabama have a person on their roster at quarterback that can beat this Georgia program? It does not seem like it right now. It does not seem like it right now. That could change. It could be that one of the guys that's there really is preparing to be a superstar. But it's possible that might not be the case this season. And so for Jermaine, I don't have ill will towards people. Well, towards college athletes. I mean, they're doing what they feel like is best for them in their situation. My statement is only that it doesn't always work out. What you hope doesn't always work out. Life doesn't always work that way. But I don't think that it means that Jermaine's not going to play in the NFL. I think he'll have his chance to do that. I just think, you look at the history of Jermaine, he played at, I think it's 3 different high schools. It might have been 4, but it was definitely 3. And moving is not a big deal to him. So I don't think that him going to Alabama is a big, was some sort of shocking thing. Talking about winning a national championship, I'm focused on the amount. I'm not focused on the amount of yards, touches, or touchdowns. If I can do the most minimum, but get a national championship with this team, I'll do that. What he's saying there, I didn't say it great, is, I'll catch the ball 20 times. I don't care, so long as we win the national championship. I mean, they're going to need you to do more than minimum, though. I mean, that's the one thing about Jermaine's situation is he's really a really good player for them, and he needs he needs to be good for Alabama, and when he is, they'll be good. There's not a lot of. You get to the point in a season where you need your big dogs to play. Jermaine's one of those guys for Alabama, and what he did last season was not bad at all. It wasn't 40 catches, what was it, 700 something yards, whatever it was. Yeah, 677. I mean, that's not bad, but if Jermaine's going to be a true, like dog, it's going to probably have to be like 52 and closer to 900, and maybe 10 touchdowns, something like that. If you're doing that, I think then Alabama could really be coming to play. But there's so many parts that we don't know yet, particularly who the quarterback's going to be. That's going to be the biggest challenge, is who's the quarterback going to be? How quick can they get where they got to go? And I do not think this is going to be about Jermaine doing the minimum. I think he's going to have to do the maximum for Alabama to win the national championship.